Everyone, so I welcome you to a course on Introduction to AWS and Cloud Computing. Introducing myself, I have done BTech from IIT in Computer Science and Engineering. I have been working into AWS, Cloud Computing, Devops domain since quite a long time, and I have a fair understanding of basically how the things have evolved over time, how the need of the hour is, and how lucrative the career you can build over cloud computing. You can learn from it, and you can have a holistic understanding of any SaaS product as a whole. I would like to first of all have your attention towards the global infrastructure map of AWS that is displayed here in the screen. You can see basically for those of who you all are pretty new to cloud computing, AWS basically stands for Amazon Web Services. It is just a cloud computing provider, and it is it is a leading player across the globe. Other would basically stand for Azure and GCP. So you can see there are the regions that are basically having data centers of AWS, and you can see that we have two regions in India, and among one is there in Mumbai. So we have a data center of AWS in India as of though. So if we come to the basics of cloud computing, the first question that intrigues our mind is why cloud computing? So prior to cloud computing, we basically had a mechanism of after the creation of the product, we had to provision the SaaS product, deploy the SaaS product. We need to do a huge investment over the hardware, the infrastructure, the that was a very one-time a huge investment that caused the bottleneck for the companies to try and test out their products into the market. So it is basically a platform where you can rent the computing resources over the internet rather than purchase it for a long time purpose, or you don't need to maintain it. Like you are having a machine, you can use it for as long as you wish, but you don't have to maintain the machine. You don't have to bind into any agreement of minimum usage, maximum usage, or whatsoever. There's also a case that you only pay for what you use, so you don't have to basically do a huge investment, a long-term investment, and you can save cut a lot of on budget. There's also no need to maintain any physical hardware, which saves you from all the intricacies of the internals of the infrastructure from the physical point of view, and you only focus upon the infrastructure, the product. So that basically saves cost for you. So if you do a comparison between traditional and the cloud-based horizon that we are currently into, so in a traditional way, we used to buy and manage servers. So as I told earlier, it used to cost really have a high upfront cost. There was also limited scalability. For example, you purchased a couple of machines with limited capacity, with limited compute, with limited memory. So you do not have the flexibility to increase it or decrease it more rapidly. But the cloud overcome all of these bottlenecks. It was basically an on-demand resource. It was basically a pay-as-you-go model. We could just pay for what you use for, and you could also scale it accordingly. So there are basically three types of cloud services that we need to understand for, and these are pretty much a standard that are used across the industry, across the organization. So once you basically get hang of these three basic pillars of cloud computing, you are basically done with the entire part of it. So starting with the first, which is pretty trivial, is SaaS, which we call is software as a service. So whenever you build a product, by product here I mean a software which you give to your customers as a service, and the customer has to do nothing but to access your service. For example, Gmail, if you take example, whenever you use Gmail to send emails, or you use Google Drive to save your important documents, or you use any software, maybe Spotify, Netflix, Zoom, anything that you use, you are not at all concerned with what is the software built of, what is the code written there, whether it is a Java or a Python, where it is hosted, how it is deployed. So you just have to use the software. So that is software as a service. So Gmail is basically a software as a service provided to you. Coming to the next part, which is infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure as a service is basically a model in which you have basically got the infrastructure, and by infrastructure I mean the servers, the storage, and the networking part of it. So you have to basically build on the top of the infrastructure your platform and your application. So once your platform and your application is built, you can sell it as a SaaS product, but you don't have to cater for the hardware layer of the infrastructure. So example is Amazon EC2, Amazon Volumes. EC2 is basically the server, volume is basically the storage. So you don't have to manage the underlying hardware behind the server and the EC2, but you have to manage the platform over it, and you have to build up application over it. The third is platform as a service, where we do not actually manage the even the infrastructure. We basically deploy the apps without managing the infrastructure. So AWS Elastic Beanstalk is one such example. Feel free to comment in case you have any kind of understanding issue between these two different, because these are very super critical and will basically help us to build a model to analyze what kind of cloud services basically we would be building upon. Okay, so coming to the benefits of the cloud, as we already discussed, it's scalable, it's cost efficient. Another factor that we can discuss is it's very reliable. So basically we don't have to worry about what if the infrastructure goes down. We are always having a backup of it so that it can be restored. Imagine you are watching your favorite TV series on Netflix, and suddenly there is some issue with the Netflix and the backup doesn't come up. You land frustrated and you just forget about the next subscription. So basically reliability is a very important concern for the SaaS providers. Also there can be issues where there can be outage of any network, compute, electricity in one particular area. So disaster recovery is also one thing which is very critical. Global reach, there's also one thing is that the cloud basically helps you to deploy your application across the globe. For example, if you are creating a product, creating a software that is targeting to US people, you can have your software hosted on to North Virginia, or if you are having an application hosted for Indian users, you should host it on Mumbai. So this will reduce the latency and it will help you to give a global reach rather than buying servers at your own premise and then serving for the global client. So the next question that comes into mind is that we are having a bunch of cloud computing providers majorly competing among the trios, the AWS, which is led by the Amazon, Microsoft Azure, and then we are having Google GCP. So what should we use, what should we learn, what should we grow it? So typically there is not much of the difference between all the three major cloud providers, but if we come to the market leader, AWS is the most widely used cloud platform across the globe. We are having more than 200 services across multiple domains. It is trusted by all the major startups, all the major enterprises, all the major governments, and having a whole bunch of innovations and new products that are being launched as compared to Azure and GCP. So in the coming next lecture, we would focus upon how to set up an AWS account. We would explore the AWS management console. So I would request all the listeners to basically subscribe to this channel and keep tuned for more lessons, for upcoming lectures. Please help us support by subscribing, show your love, show your excitement about the role, show your comment if you don't understand any. I would like to address all of you. Thank you.